How many governments have to be overthrown by people we train before you sort of get the message that our core values might not be sticking with everyone?
Welcome to Tunacheki's Africa React. I'm your host, Mike Mushi, and this is a show where we go online and react to viral videos concerning the African continent. Today's episode will be reacting to a very damning video from the United States Congress, where they were having this congressional hearing, and they were questioning generals and their activities, the military activities in Africa, okay? So before we get into that reaction and discuss the video, please make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so that YouTube can recommend this video to more like-minded people like you, okay? So without further ado, let us watch the video and we'll discuss.
General Langley, I have constituents that have been scattered across Africa on train and equip missions. So just ballpark, in the last decade, how many Africans has the United States military trained and equipped?
Congressman, I don't have that figure. I can get that figure for you.
Ballpark, just, how many?
Congressman, it would be a wild guess, right?
Seems like something we should know, right?
Over the years, we have trained a substantial number, especially in the Gulf of Guinea states, including
like more than 10,000?
It is more than 10,000.
More than 50,000?
I'd say we're reaching around 50,000 at least.
And what percentage of the people we've trained end up participating in insurrections or coups against their own government?
Very small number, Congressman, very small number.
So what percentage do you think?
I'd say probably less than 1%.
But it does happen.
The IMET program is in force, and we've pushed a significant number through our schools across the
and what data sets do you track to arrive at the conclusion that less than 1% of the roughly 50,000 that we've trained have participated in coups? Because it'd be like about 500, about 1% of 50,000.
Congressman, you may have that information. I don't at this time, but I know.
Well, I know there are some, right? Like go ahead and throw up that image. This is Colonel Mamade Doumbouya, and this is a photo of him. Did we train and equip him in Guinea?
By name, I cannot identify that.
Well, that guy in the middle with the big red hat, Colonel Mamade Doumbouya, that's him with a bunch of U.S. service members outside of our embassy. And just months after this photo was taken in 2021, he led a coup in Guinea and threw out the leader. Does that concern you?
Congressman, core values is what we start off with in IMA programs.
Do we share core values with Colonel Doumbouya?
Core values. I will repeat that. Core values. Respect for humanity.
Do we share those values with Colonel Doumbouya?
Absolutely. In our curriculum.
He led a coup?
We do.
Okay, well, that's a very telling answer. In Burkina Faso, did we share core values with the leader that we trained there who led a coup?
It's in our curriculum. We
Leading
stress
coups
core
are in our
values,
curriculum?
request civilian-led governance.
Wait, hold on. Is leading coups in our curriculum?
Absolutely not.
So
civilian-led.
My question is, do we share core values with the coup leader in Burkina Faso who we trained?
Holistically, we teach core values with a respect for civilian governance, apolitical, and that's what sticks across a very high percentage in the 99 percentile.
Right? But not everybody. And I wonder how many people it takes to plan a coup. I mean, initially you didn't know how many we trained and equipped. Then you said it was 1%. You had no basis for that 1% number because there's no data set you track. Mr. Chairman, I seek unanimous consent to enter into the record another U.S. trained soldier stages a coup in West Africa by The Intercept.
Without objection, so ordered.
And I further seek unanimous consent to enter into the record U.S. forces trained the Guinean colonel behind the recent coup in West African country, and this is regard to Guinea.
Without objection, so ordered.
So I guess the question is, why should U.S. taxpayers be paying to train people who then lead coups in Africa?
Congressman, our curriculum harvests core values and also to be able to embolden these countries for a representative democracy.
But General, that democracy isn't what emerges. The problem is, I know you may have great confidence in what you're teaching, but when two governments have been overthrown, I guess, how many governments have to be overthrown by people we train before you sort of get the message that our core values might not be sticking with everyone? Is it 5 countries? 10?
We'll continue with our persistence in assuring
But do you think it's
that
working?
they harbor democratic norms, and democratic values.
Just a moment ago, you said we shared core values with Colonel Doumbouya. You said that just moments ago in response to my question, and his core value seems to be leading a coup. So I don't think it's stuck. I think we should at least know how many countries we train the coup plotters in. How many is too many? Because clearly 2 is not too many, and I think we could use our resources far more effectively than doing this.
Yeah, so there we have it. There are 2 really important points we'll really have to talk about in this discussion. So let's talk about the main thing in this video. So it's a congressional hearing. Matt Gaetz is questioning the general, and he says, he keeps repeating core values, right? America wants to spread core values. They believe in these core values. The core values is simply called imperialism, right? And then this guy he should be so happy as a general because he's achieving his goals, right? He's admitted to training these military people. These military people, they've gone in and caused coup. So this is some fact for you. There have been over around 500 coups throughout the world, right? Almost half of them have just occurred in Africa. You can believe the whole world has 500 coups. Half of them have been in Africa, right? So that's around 214 coups in Africa. And out of all those 214, 107 have been successful. So it's a wide known fact, right, that America is responsible for 1/3 of every coup that has taken place in Africa. So that's roughly 214 coups. So that's like 72 coups have happened in Africa, right, because of the United States. There are only like 55 African countries. So you can imagine, right? They're so good at causing chaos and in Africa, they're doing it in other countries 2 times over, 3 times over, right? So this is the main problem. The United States military has admitted it trains military personnel, and some of those military personnel go on and cause coups, right? And this has been a known fact, right? The United States has interfered in Africa since Kwame Nkrumah. They helped organize the coup that took him out. Since Patrice Lumumba, they helped organize his assassination, right? So they've been interfering in Africa, causing our underdevelopment and trying to exploit the continent's resources, right? And now this is now the implications of what is happening, right? So this general is admitting to the military trainings, right? So for most of you who do not know, Al-Qaeda exists, this terrorist group, just because of the United States. Let me give you a bit of history, right? So Afghanistan was fighting the USSR in the 60s, and the United States helped train a group called of freedom fighters called the Mujahideen. The Mujahideen formed the Taliban, right? And the Taliban right now, you know what they've done in Afghanistan. And then the Taliban also, parts of the Taliban helped form the Al-Qaeda, or Al-Qaeda, the Taliban supported the formation of Al-Qaeda or gave them resources and stuff, right? So all this United States training of the Mujahideen is responsible for the terrorism that Al-Qaeda has caused, right? So think about it. All this terrorism here in Africa, in the Sahel, in weird countries like Mozambique, where Islamic terrorists have no business even being, right? So you have to wonder, where are all these people getting the training? People like the Boko Haram, right? Where are these people getting the funding? Where are these people getting the training, right? I'm not here to speculate that there's some country that's training these terrorists, causing terrorist problems. So these countries have a reason to have military bases in the country, and apparently those countries that have these terrorism problems are the countries in Africa with the most natural resources, oil, gas, mineral resources, right? So we kind of understand how this game is played, where you train the problem, you put the problem in the area, and then you come up with the solution. Like, oh yeah, we'll have a military base here. A good example is Somalia. We'll have a military base here, and yeah, we'll take care of all these terrorists, right? So these terrorists wouldn't have existed if you didn't train them to begin with, right? So this is our problem when it comes to imperialism and neocolonization of Africa. They just interfere in our business, leaving us no chance to organically grow as a country. And most of you people in the comments, some of you are pro-China, some of you are pro-Russia, some of you are pro-America, and you're always wondering where Tunacheki stands, right? So this is the point, right? We are neither pro-American, as of course, we always criticize the United States. We are not pro-Russia. We are not pro-China, right? The only pro we are is pro-African, right? And if your goals or your achievements align with a pro-African stance, of course we will be aligned. But if your actions and goals do not align with us, of course we will be against you, right? So let's get these things straight. We are pro-African. We'll always be pro-African. We're never pro-Russia. We're never pro-China. We're never pro-American. Because we're not Russians. We're not Chinese. We're not American. We are African. That's why we are always and will only be ever pro-African. And all our videos we make, all our education we put is we try to push the pro-African narrative, right? We support the growth of African people, the growth of African economies without interference from outsiders, regardless of where you come from, right? In the region. So please watch this video again just to listen to this general. He keeps repeating core values. He's so proud with these core values. So proud of the chaos is caused in Africa, right? So think about it, a third of all coups. Africa has done 214 coups, right? United States responsible for a third of those coups. Come on, this guys, if it's not direct colonization, the only thing that's left is them just to invade Africa. I think that will even be easier, right? And the general will be very, very happy. So, with that said, this has been Mikey Mushi. Please make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. A big thank you to our Patreons, our PayPal donors, and our channel members. We really appreciate you guys. You really help us do what we do. And with that said, this has been Mikey Mushi. And always remember, Africa is watching.